author whom I've met on Instagram who's going to share her life story with us uh, in hopes of inspiring some people and getting the word out there about her books. So she's 31 years old. She's from Missouri. And you've got the floor. You can kind of introduce yourself because I don't know you all that well yet.
Okay. I'm 31. My name is Krista McDaniel. I'm from the Boot Hill, Kennett, Missouri, a little old town. Been here pretty much my whole life, besides the moving around from here and there to foster care as a child, but mainly here. Um, I know that I have been through my fair share of dealings in life. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a bunch of people out there that's probably been through a lot worse than what I have. But my point in this isn't to have a competition. My point in this is to try to spread faith and hope in a way, try to inspire people to know that life really does suck. It does. But it doesn't have to forever. You have to kind of keep the faith that things could get better. Because if not, I mean, it's going to cause you to continue to have a horrible life if you don't have the belief in good things. So my
In
reason in
yourself,
writing.
too. If you don't believe in yourself, then you can't expect anybody else to. It's one of the most important
eh,
things out there.
That's right. I've been writing since I was 10 years old, started with poetry, and I never ever took the step in trying to put it out there. I have tried public speaking, um, venues and stuff for me, but that's a really difficult thing to start doing. So I decided to do books. And my best way of communicating, really am not good at talking. Maybe it has a lot to do with my trauma, not ever being validated, always being invalidated, not listened to and not heard. Could be the reason why I don't communicate well. But when I write, I can write complete honesty. I can write everything exactly how it happened and look back at it and be like, I made it through that. I did that. That was my life. But you know what? Here I am. I have stories on here that have been on there for not even a whole day. And I've already made it to like rank 8 for one of my brand new ones. And I'm so proud of myself. It is one of those feelings that you only get for yourself, that nobody else can give you. It's one of them feelings that only you can give yourself.
Right. And you
Um,
have to like achieve something to get it, right? Like it's not something that's like easy to get. You've got to work
no,
your ass off for
yeah.
it. And
I'm
that's part
telling
of
you,
why
I've
it feels
spent
so good.
writing these books. I have spent about a month altogether, and it's one of those full-time jobs without getting paid. It really is. But you have to really be inspired and motivated, and it has to really, hit home for you, mean something. It has to be what's that word I'm looking for?
From the heart, like real. It's got to mean something to you.
You just have to be able to let your words out.
We've got some people watching, so for everyone who's joining in, I'm going to catch you up to speed. We're doing a little bit of a chat here. She is a recovering addict and a author who wants to try and help inspire people with her life story. And we're having a little bit of a chat here to try and draw some attention to her books and maybe help someone out there. So you've got the floor again.
Well,
I just the people that
I am
are here
I
now.
am I have gotten a comment, look, and then this lady asked me, "How do you write like this?" I said, "It's not like it's that I know how to put my truth on paper. It's different. I can feel those feelings over and over again every day. That pain, it sits in me. It constantly sits there. So it's something that you don't ever forget what it feels like."
Right.
And look, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. um, it's just so easy. It just comes so easily for me. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. It's a talent either you have or you don't.
Well, I'll share
But
a little bit
the main
about
point of it,
you or about myself with you really quick. I'm autistic, so I totally understand what you're saying because my words can be like my worst enemy sometimes, you know. When I start speaking and I don't think about what I'm saying, you know, it comes out terribly. But if I take the time to write it and calculate everything the way you're saying, it's like that piece of paper can be my best friend.
yep, yes.
Because,
You mean my best friend?
you
Look
know,
at this. That's all paper that has been written on. That is my joy right there.
but I didn't mean to cut you
I,
off. I just wanted to share a little bit about
no,
myself too.
no.
So I
I love
relate.
to hear it. I love to hear it.
So tell me
Over.
about you and your life. You
Where
said
would
that
you
you
like
grew
me to
up in the
start?
foster system, wherever you'd like. It can go on as long as you
Oh,
want.
Well, I was born to
One.
unmarried parents. I'll start there. My father and my mother were not together. When I was born, before I was born, they split up. Okay. So I was kind of moved back and forth between mother and father. My mother was addicted to methamphetamines and crack. And my whole life growing up, it was a fighting battle that I watched her. I watched her fight. And that's the really sad thing about my story, really. It's one of those things where you repeat the cycle, but you don't intend to repeat the cycle and hurt people. But it's kind of just something that happens.
Right.
With not having a mother or a father. My father was also a crackhead. He was also an alcoholic, but a functioning alcoholic. Um, so that's what I was always substances is my life. That's all I know. My parents watching my parents go through it, and me not understanding why can't have my parents because they're fighting their own battles, and I'm sitting here having to be strong on my own without a mother and a father there to support me to show me how to be uh, a woman or an adult or how to be responsible. I didn't never have that. I had to teach myself a lot of things because those foster homes, they make sure you're physically okay, kind of like when you're on drugs and you're taking care of your children. It's one of those things where they're physically taken care of, but the
Well,
emotional,
there are some good ones, but for the most part, a lot of these families just want to make money and don't really care to the kids' emotional needs and stuff, right? That's what I've
I
been
have been
hearing.
in.
The last interview I did was with somebody in a foster care system that had grown up, and uh,
Yeah, I've been in quite a few, and I can't say that there's only been one that I think that I actually felt safe, like I was at home in a way. Only one. And she died a few years back, but I stayed in contact with her my whole life. She was my grandma. But my daddy, when he would feel like he slip in or fall in, he wouldn't let me watch him. He was one of those parents that he wouldn't put me through his own challenges, his own pain, his own suffering. So when he knew that something was bad in his life, he would take me, put me somewhere where he knew I was safe until he could get himself straight again. I respect him so much, even though he had his faults and his pain. I respect him for always making sure that I never had to witness his his traumatic experiences and his tough struggles in life because it showed me what kind of person he is positively. Instead of all the negative, I see nothing but positive. And the difference
now are
between
we
my mother and
talking
my
about your
father,
biological father or one of your foster
yeah,
parents? Your
my
biological
my
father.
real father,
Okay.
yes. He passed away in a car accident when I was 10 years old back in 2004. He veered off the side of the road, struck a guardrail, ran into the path of oncoming traffic. The passenger side got hit by a truck going about 35, 40 miles an hour, and he had a lady in the passenger seat. And she was actually in so bad that it busted her open. She had to have closed casket funeral, and my daddy hit his head on the steering wheel, which killed him instantly. A helicopter couldn't help him. So at least maybe he wasn't in pain. But the hardest part about that story is my uncle told me that when my daddy did die, it was 12 o'clock in the morning. It was raining real hard. He had a teddy bear in his back seat along with some groceries. Don't know why I went grocery shopping that early in the morning, but hey. Um, but knowing that when this was one of those situations where my daddy needed to save himself, so he tried to take me somewhere I'd be safe, except he chose my mother. And at that time, my mother was going through her own struggles. She was in one of her deepest addictions yet. He knew that. I cried for her. He wanted to be a good father. He was slacking. All he knew what to do was to give me what I wanted, what I really wanted, and that was my mother at the time. So even though it was under bad judgment, he took me to her, dropped me off at the trailer park with her. That was the last I heard from him until he died. 3 months. I went 3 months after going my whole life without not having my father, not being able to speak to him, not knowing where he's at. I was always aware, always knowing. But when he dropped me off that day, I never talked to him or seen him again for 3 months until the day that they showed up at the school telling me that he was dead, that he had died in a car accident. I tried to call him, kept getting voicemail,
So
tried to
he had
call and
been dead,
call.
and you didn't even know. You just found out after the fact at school one day. They
Yes.
came and got a hold of you. I can only imagine what that would be like to hear that as a 10-year-old. I mean, I didn't even really know how to
I
respond other than to say I'm
I
very
fell.
sorry for your
I broke.
loss.